All right, everybody, what's up? Welcome to your reading for the new moon in Taurus happening on the 30th of April. It's also a partial solar eclipse, and so that can bring sort of like an intense energy, sort of a concentration to the new moon. But we're into Taurus season, and so stability, grounding, laying the land, laying your seeds in the ground for sprouting and for germination. It's that time of year. And so if you've been feeling that push that we feel from Aries season, that transition into Taurus can be a bit of an exhale and a bit of a release into laying the groundwork for what you want to see come forwards. Now, for this new moon in Taurus, one of the primary messages that's coming through is really about allowing things to unfold that you have already set up. And so a lot of us, when we lay the groundwork for something or we start something new and we really feel that we want to see the fruits of our labor, it's really easy to lose hope or lose sight of the fact that it takes time for things to settle before we can start to see the growth and we can really see the expansion and the change. And so this whole month of Taurus season, this whole time and space between now and I think it's mid-May, or maybe even a bit later, but is really about allowing that exhale to deepen and allowing yourself to listen to what is being echoed back to you, or listening to the silence and listening to the space that you've created, so that when those results do come, you're in this really beautiful space of gratitude and also having created that space so that you have the capacity to accept all of the things that are coming your way. So staying where you are, but watching and allowing sort of your mind and your vision to expand without feeling like there has to be a lot of doing right now and a lot of activity right now. It's more about listening to that exhale, allowing that expansion to push your energy outwards and to sort of seed all of your opportunities into the earth. So, two cards are going to come up right away. Interesting. Okay, I'm using my older deck. So this card came up in terms of relationship. This is really about transitioning into a space of joy. And so allowing yourself to make connections with people or allowing friendships to blossom that aren't always about that like deep, really intense, really, sort of like really deeply rooted foundations of relationship. It's really important in our relationships right now, especially in the ones that we consider long lasting or we consider valuable to us in the greater scheme, that we introduce fun, or that we allow there to be a balance of a bit of light, a bit of silliness, a bit more joy. There really, through the whole pandemic process and all of this, we have a lot of shedding and like a lot of sloughing off of these old skins. And with relationships, that comes down to a lot of hard work and a lot of tilling. And it's been wonderful to see and to witness and to feel how many people have been doing that hard work in their relationships. But it's really important that you bring in some joy, some silliness, some simplicity to your relationships as well, to prevent things from becoming too saturated in that density. We want to be able to explore the dark. It's so essential that we were able to explore the dark. People are still feeling that echo and that resonance of having to go into the dark because they've resisted it for so long. But when it comes to relationships and friendships, and I'm sure for most of you, this will bring up one relationship in particular, allowing that to be balanced with joy, because life is meant to be holistic and to be balanced and not meant to be weighed down in one particular way. And the other card that came up right away is perfectly thematic for this time of year and for transition. We have our fox, and this is usually a card that symbolizes loss, but it did come up in reverse. And there are two main themes that are coming up with this card. And one of them is letting go of your expectations. That is such a buzzword. It's so easily said in the realm of personal development. But in this particular case, it's about, yes, visualizing what you want, but being open to the unexpected. If something comes your way and it's not what you had expected or it's not what you had planned, check in with your body and check in with your gut. Does it feel good? Like, does this feel like a potentially opening door? Because if it feels good and it wasn't what you expected, then it might be an opportunity that's being given to you that you couldn't have predicted. And so that really is a blessing, especially if you're in a space where you're able to listen to that enough to be able to walk through that door. And the second message that was coming through was about letting go or sort of reinterpreting what loss means. A lot of the times when we give up something or we forego something or we remove ourselves from a particular space or environment, it can feel like loss, or it is loss, and it's sort of it's a transition that involves removal. But what you could be creating for yourself by removing yourself from that particular pattern or habit or relationship or like space, like pattern of space of how you were living, by allowing that loss to fully take place, you have no idea what doors and what platforms and what levels you could be opening for yourself. And so this card coming in reverse is really a message about, is something that is coming towards you that would traditionally feel like a loss, or especially from the outside world sound like a loss. You know, you express it to other people and they say, oh, I'm so sorry, or that's horrible, or blah, 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 whatever. Does it really feel like a loss to you, or does it feel like you could potentially be walking down a new path? Because there are so many beautiful, sort of massive changes that have happened in the world from people who have taken situations that have felt like a loss or been interpreted as a loss at the beginning and seen it as the opportunity that they may never get again. You know, there is a magical moment in the space of transition where everything can change. And if you see that loss as an opportunity for creating more space or creating different space, you could have the potential recipe to really change your life. It just comes down to whether or not you are willing to listen to the internal voice, or whether you're distracted by what the noise is that's going on around you. I'm just going to tune in here while I go to pull another card. So this concept, this has been coming up in my personal realm quite a bit, but the concept of the dominant narrative, especially as in the Northern Hemisphere, we're moving towards summer, and so things are getting busier and there's more movement and there's more people out. There's this dominant narrative that seems to be approaching that describes like a lack of space and a lack of opportunity, and like, oh, there's less to go around, or oh, it's harder to do this, or it's going to be more challenging to achieve this. And you know, humans create their own reality. Like, what we perceive as truth is up to us and is up to our understanding of what we believe, and what we see in the outside world is a direct reflection of our beliefs. Hard fact only goes so far as to how you interpret the emotions and the perceptions that are coming your way. And so the dominant narrative, or ignoring the dominant narrative of, it's coming up as something specific. So if you're trying to go for like a job, or you're trying to find a new house, or there's something specific that you're aiming for in your life, and the dominant narrative is that it's a closed door, you're being asked in this new moon, and with this solar eclipse, there's sort of this like trap door there, that you're being asked to be a bit of an anarchist this new moon and say, you know what, I refute that. I refuse to accept that, or I refuse to absorb that dominant narrative as truth. And instead, I'm choosing X, or instead, I'm choosing this vision. And again, visions of like Michael Jordan and other people who have been able to transcend their experiences to be able to achieve their dreams is really what's coming through for this message. There's never been a stronger time than right now in the world to listen to your inner compass more than the noise and literally the crackling and the white noise of what's going on in the outside realm. It's just like how we all know we don't need to get caught up in the discourse that happens, in a Facebook group. It's the same thing. If you can ground, and Taurus is such a grounding energy, if you can ground into the internal compass of what you want, and to a certain extent either suspend or dispel that fear that may be, in that orbit as well. But if you can sort of put that to the side just enough, you may be able to transcend this particular situation and create something that you never imagined possible. Okay, last card here. Okay. I love this card. This is my favorite card in the whole deck. And this is really, it's an internal message and it's a personal message. And this theme for the Taurian new moon is really about, in reflection with this card, like, you've been doing the work. You've been doing the work. You have been working really hard. Yes, you want to see the seeds grow. Yes, you want to see those sprouts, but you have to trust that there's a germination period where there's that sort of dense soil where nothing is happening and everything is happening. And knowing that with this healer card, it is a confirmation and a validation that you are doing the work and you are doing a wonderful job. This is such a beautiful confirmation to receive. You are making the effort. You are creating things from what you've been given. And so allow yourself to really sort of take comfort in that and take refuge in that feeling of, wow, I have done the work. I'm still going to keep working. Everybody needs to keep on their journey, but you've done a massive amount of work in this phase, and it is only a matter of time until you reap the rewards and you really start to see that harvest. And like, yes, there's sort of a beautiful plainness to, or like a simplicity to how this aligns with the natural cycles. But as human beings, we're part of the natural world. And so this whole concept of spring and birth and gestation and harvest to come in the summer and all of that, we're tied in inherently with those natural cycles. And so this healer card is really meant to be a bit of rain on a dry day, or a bit of sun after it's been really cold. It's meant to just be a small sign and a small piece of validation that you are doing the work, and you just have to trust that that energy and that frequency that you have pushed out into the world will reach the people that you need to. You will receive the goal or the hope that you're working towards. And really just allow yourself to steep in that feeling. It's not really about sitting back and being like, oh, I don't need to do my work anymore. It's really about, wow, I did all this work and I pushed it all out into the world, and I'm going to wait, but I'm really going to let that feeling of, I did a good job, sit in my body fully so that I can move forwards with the confidence knowing that you've given it your best effort. So, pretty beautiful forecast for this new moon in Taurus. Speaking of grounding and stability, I have written and recorded a new meditation for my YouTube followers and for my people on Instagram. And so, if you'd like to check that out, I've done a grounding and stabilizing meditation with the amethyst crystal found on YouTube and on Instagram. If you would like, please subscribe and follow me on YouTube. This is where I put all of my content. If you would like to support my work through PayPal, I've left the link in the description box below. And if you would like to book a private reading with me or an energy healing, just drop me a personal message on Instagram, drop me a message on Facebook. I'm Indigo Instinct Healing page on Facebook. You can even leave a comment in the YouTube comments. I always check them and usually reply. And so please feel free to reach out to me in any way that you would like. And for now, blessings and enjoy Taurus season.